Please note the views and opinions expressed by the hosts on this show are not necessarily the views held by the station.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now, it's our turn.
Good evening, good Friday night, good Saturday morning down under. Welcome to Friday night, Saturday mornings, Syncretism with hostess, whatever, Kate of Gaia, and of course, the magnanimous Santo Bonacci. Santo, how are you doing?
Oh, very well, thanks, Kate. Really, really well. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, we've been ripping down this apocalypse left, right, and center, since we talked last, so it's getting funnier and funnier and funnier. So looking forward to tonight's chat.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Party time, see? Friday night. That's what Friday nights and Saturday mornings, of course, are all about. So I was saying that last night or the night before, the magic of Down Under, where you're in Oz, right? So it's that beautiful rebellious nature, the divine feminine southern, that South Pole sort of thing going on. So it's beautiful. This is what I like about Friday nights, is we have the as above, so below. And we've talked about that many times, eh? We got both
Yep.
hemispheres covered in more ways than one, I think. There you go. So you got the divine masculine you in the divine feminine realm, and the divine feminine me in the divine masculine realm. So it's perfect. We're quadrupolar. How's that work?
Yep. And only a month ago, exactly to the day, in fact, I was standing with 1 foot in the southern hemisphere and 1 foot in the right hemisphere of the planet in Ecuador, in Quito, in the Temple of the Sun. It was a great experience, Kate.
No doubt.
It was wonderful. Cristobal, and you can go to Temple of the Sun in the middle of the world. They call it La Mitad del Mundo in Spanish. And type in Cristobal at the museum. That's the guy. You can get in touch with him and talk to the guy. But he is the guy who actually rebuilt the temple. The Spaniards destroyed it, of course. And he rebuilt it. And he is the guide. Now, when we rocked up on the 29th of last month, we had to toot the horn at the front gates because it was closed. They're not doing a lot of business, Not many people want to know about how, the sun works and what were the ancient indigenous people really interested in with this temple. There's plenty of Coca-Cola there now in Ecuador, and Hollywood films and all sorts of American shit. And the people are just lapping it up, So, but we were the only ones there, the three of us. Johnny, myself, and Danny, the director. And we filmed the whole thing. It was about an hour, and Cristobal, who was so generous with his time, beautiful man, and his wife, beautiful woman. And we filmed, and once it's edited, we will have some of the most beautiful, exquisite, explained information about the 4 tropical cardinal points. March 21st equinox, June 21st, which we just went through 9 days ago, the solstice, autumn equinox, September 23rd, and then the summer solstice of December 21st. And that's it. And that's all that Cristobal spoke about. And that's all I speak about, And so I went to Ecuador not expecting, I knew I would go to these ancient sites. Johnny prepared me, and I did not expect to go there and hear something astoundingly new. There was Cristobal, who has the tradition of thousands of years of his people, the Quituscara. There are 3, there's 2 indigenous groups there, really, the Suarez and the Quichua. But the Quituscara, they were in Quito, the capital of Ecuador. And I encourage anyone to go there, because it really will have a great effect on your life. It's a very balancing standing on the equator really, really brings you into unity. You actually weigh a couple of kilos less. I experienced it. Cristobal coached me as he walked me on the equator, and he said, feel the balance. Feel the loss of balance, but decrease of weight. So the levity. Rather than gravity, you feel levity on the equator. It's a beautiful feeling. It really does transform you in a certain way. It really does. It has a great effect. Anyway, he kindly explained for about an hour, and we've got it on film, how the sun, when it reaches March the 21st, everything begins. And they call that Paukar Raimi. Now, Paukar is very similar to Pascua, which is what we call Easter, which is that particular crossing of the sun. The first crossing is the most celebrated, the Easter. So and they call it Paukar, which I see as Pascua, the Jewish Pesach. It's always pa, wherever you go, except for English, which call it Easter, but they also recognize Passover. Pesach, the Passover, because the sun passes over. So here's Cristobal telling me, and isn't it funny that he should be having the name of the very man, Christopher Columbus, Cristobal Colon, his true name, Cristobal Colon, in Spanish, that's what they call him. And this particular beautiful Indian man is bearing the name of the conquistador who destroyed their culture in the first place. And here he is, ironically, explaining to me this beautiful wisdom. So these are the 4 points of the Indians. June the 21st is called Inti Raimi. So Paukar Raimi, Inti Raimi. Then they have a very strangely named autumnal equinox. It's called Kuya Raimi. And the last one is Kapach Raimi. And he taught me these 4 days, and then he showed me, we walked over to the sundial, which is just a rectangular Masonic, it looks like a tombstone. It's just a rectangular stone, carved nicely, not too perfectly, but roughly hewn. And at the top of this rectangular box, this is how their sundials work in Ecuador. They just have a rectangular. It's like an obelisk, but in rectangular. And I'm talking about, but it does the same job as an obelisk, nonetheless. And what they do is they put a rod through the top of this stone so that it is horizontal, not vertical. It's horizontally projecting from the top of this rectangular stone. So you've got just 2 things. That's it. You've got a stick poking out of the top, protruding from the top of this rectangular stone, and the stone is lined up sort of, obviously it's lined up east-west. And that's it. And then we spent a half an hour there filming what he next spoke about, how the sun, as it comes over the top of that on March the 21st, when it gets to the very, very top, it casts no shadow.
Okay, that's pretty freaky.
Yeah, because it's right above the stone, you see. But generally, what happens is, at midday, that stick casts a shadow, of course, vertically, directly. Pure, perpendicular to the horizon, to the horizontal earth, right? So they know, that's their clock. They know 12 o'clock is opposite to our 12 o'clock. Put it that way, right? That's why we also have 12 o'clock, because the sun is, at the equinox of March the 21st, the sun is directly above the head. But and then in 1 hour's time, that dial will have moved 15 degrees. Then in 2 hours, it will have moved 30 degrees. So there's one zodiacal sign. And there you have it. The science, syncretism, the science of light, everywhere on this planet. and you'll bump into it everywhere. But the Quito experience was unique because what happens when you go there, you do experience some certain kind of magic. At once you are brought to probably one of the most holy places on the planet. And I actually purchased some jewelry. I spent about $400, and I bought jewelry for everybody. You know, my son, my niece, everybody, my whole family. They make jade jewelry. So what you'll have, I'm wearing a leather necklace with a Chicana jade stone carved by Cristobal. So he makes all the jewelry. He also makes, aromas and incense, and I bought a couple of aromas. I've actually got Floripondo. I've got the aroma of Floripondo. You might want to check that out. That's one of the most powerful trees in Ecuador and Colombia and all of that that area there of South America. And they make a drug out of it. It's a very, very potent drug. It's one of the most potent drugs on the planet. But as an essence, it's a beautiful, soothing oil, and you sniff it, and it soothes you and calms you. Anyway, the jewelry that I bought a lot of these masks of solar worship because that's all it is. The Chicana that I'm wearing, you might want to look up the word Chicana. It's a very, very important symbol. It's related to the swastika. It's related to the cross. But it's the 8-spoked wheel, basically. The cardinal points and fixed points of the zodiac. And they make a wheel. It's called a Chicana. CHANA. And you really might want to research and study that because you will advance yourself in the science of light once you do. Now, this particular necklace I'm wearing also has Chinese seeds. There's a Chinese tree, a sacred Chinese tree, according to Cristobal, and it produces black and red seeds, and he makes beads out of these. And so I have about 10 beads, but they are seeds. Now, the name of the sacred tree, maybe some of the listeners might be able to help us with that, but because they may actually know what I'm talking about. This necklace I'm wearing is just so full of sacred stuff. I mean, I haven't taken it off since I left Ecuador, and he told me to wear it. He says, you must wear jade. Keep jade around your neck because it gives you force, he said, and power and strength and vitality and wisdom and all the great virtues. See, this is what the Chicana represents. It represents only 8 of the 12 representatives or agents of the dodecahedron that are spread out across our Western traditional zodiac. We have 12. They also have 12. And we also have 8. And the 8 that we have is always dealing with the tropical points, the cardinal points, and the fixed points. The poor old mutable points, they always get left out, But that's what the Chicana is all about. And the cardinal cross, am I right to keep talking? I mean, I haven't given you...
Oh, yeah. No, this is great. Isn't it interesting that you just said that? I always forget and as you were talking, forgetting the mutable points. Yeah, the 3, 6, 9, and 12, right?
Yeah, we'll get into that.
I've got another couple of theories, but I want to hear what you have to say about because as soon as you said 8 and 12, I'm thinking, isn't that interesting that we're one consciousness shy of being the 13th warrior and one level shy of reaching the level of consciousness, and why it's all about octagons and 8 and let's get into some real fun shit tonight. I'm in a mood. Let's go.
Yeah, well,
this is great. Keep going.
You being a word whiz will know what really hides behind the word mutable. Mutable, mutate, transform, etc. That's where all the transformation happens. Gemini, Pollux and Castor, humanity and divinity, transformation. Virgo, the sign of service. She's the handmaid of the Lord the Sun. And she serves us with bread. It's Bethlehem. Virgo, Bethlehem, the sign of bread. That's where you collect the grain and hence have bread through the winter. So she serves us. It's the sign of service. Sagittarius, the centaur, the man, humanity coming from the beast. And what a beast to represent the majestic horse, the equine. We get words like quality, equine, equus, equality. The horse is majestic. It's the divine animal. That's why.
Yeah. Equator, Ecuador. Keep going.
Exactly. And so here again we have another mutable sign of transformation. You might as well change the word mutable into transformation. And then you'll have an understanding of what's going on, especially once you deal with the 8 other signs. And then you'll understand. Pisces, 2 fish, doubt, belief. If you don't have belief, you're not going to have other, ancillary benefits like willpower. Will is Leo, I will. You won't have other things like Sagittarian wisdom. Sagittarius is I see. It's not talking about seeing with the eyes, although it is, but it's also talking about seeing with the third eye, seeing the divine things. I see. So Pisces, being the last sign, it collects all the energy of the preceding 11 signs, and it contains all of them in itself. This is why Pisces is also opposite Virgo, the sign of service, and it is the sign of giving to humanity and reaching out above to the higher things. One fish is believing, the other one is doubting. One fish is low down. One fish is seeking to go downward into the water, into psychic oblivion and Maya and delusion. The other one is seeking to go to the air and to drink the waters of Aquarius, because that fish is right at the foot of Aquarius and wanting to participate of the air sign of Aquarius, or the air element. And so these signs are all about transformation. But the cardinal signs, starting with Aries, Aries is the first. I am. Fire. Cardinal fire. This is dealing with our spiritual nature. Fire is spirit. There are 4 bodies that make up the human body. Fire, spirit, emotion, physical, and mental or intellectual. So Aries, on the first cardinal point, the first angle, is dealing with the spirit body of Adam Kadmon. Adam Kadmon is who we are. We are the Adamic race. Adam is the zodiac. The Aries is on the ascendant, usually. They always put it on the ascendant. Aries, the ascendant is the letter A for the word Adam. Opposite the ascendant is the descendant, where Libra is. That's the letter D for Adam. And then Capricorn, Cancer, the solstice axis, that's meridian. That's Adam, the meridian. So you have ADM. And Adam Kadmon is the 12-fold being that is the microcosm of this macrocosmic God. Let's call it that. So when you come to Cancer, the second, and that's where we are right now, that's water. Water is emotion. That's the emotional body. Libra, the next cardinal sign opposite Aries. The intellect, the intellectual body of mankind. Adam Kadmon. It has to do with reason and rational things, logic. Then Capricorn is earth. This is physical. This is the physical body. Capricorn rules the knees and the skeletal system. And so we have 12 systems of the body. Capricorn rules the skeletal. That's where you start everything. the Philosopher's Stone begins with Capricorn, excuse me, because everything begins with the physical, the earthy, the cardinal sign of Capricorn. Saturn is lead. Lead is the most dense of the elements, or one of the most dense elements. And so you begin with Capricorn. And so the body begins with Capricorn because the body, the 12 systems of the body, the skeletal system is the base. Everything is built and wound like textiles around the body. This is why in the myths it talks about the flesh being wound on the spindle. That's the yarn being wound. This is the flesh and the blood and the nervous system, the tree of life that is wound and put on this spindle, which is the bones, Capricorn. And that's why the sheep and the goats, Aries, is the cerebrospinal system. In fact, the ram, Aries, is the cerebram. We call it the cerebrum, neutral. It's the cerebra, the ra, the ram. And so the sheep and the goats, one rules the coarsest part of the body, the bones, the densest, because the body's made of solid, liquid, gas, and radiance, vitality. So Capricorn gets to rule the densest. Aries gets to rule the highest. The ram is at the highest part of the body, the head, the cerebrum, ruling the highest vibrating part of the body, the nervous system, cerebrospinal system. So this is why the Lord Jesus is always separating the sheep from the goats. He's separating the spiritual people from the physical. Not that Capricorns are not spiritual. They are sometimes the most spiritual. But it's talking about science, and it's just literary truth which aids us in our in our alchemical process of turning our lead into gold. And so you always start with the lead in Capricorn. And so the body's made of 12 systems. Aries rules the cerebrospinal. Taurus rules the lymphatic system. Gemini rules the respiratory system, the lungs, the twin lungs. Cancer rules the digestive system. Leo, the circulatory system. Virgo, the excretory system. Kidney, Libra, I think, rules the excretory system. Virgo is the digestive system. Or did I say that? Never mind. Anyway, Sagittarius is connected to the liver, Capricorn the skeletal, Aquarius is dealing with the circulatory system, and Pisces the nervous system too. So, this is the body, and this is Adam Kadmon, microcosm. So that's the body. The cardinal points are dealing with the body, the cross, the cardinal cross. There are three crosses: the cardinal cross, the fixed cross, and the mutable cross. We've been through the mutable cross in the last 2,000 years, in the age of Pisces. We are now in a fixed cross. Fixed cross consists of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, the bull, the lion, the eagle, the man. These are the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. In Ezekiel and Revelation, you have a description of God having the face of a man, the face of a bull, the face of a lion, and the face of an eagle. Eagle is for Scorpio. And the attributes, you see, I learnt this back when I was a Jehovah's Witness, actually. They teach that, because they can't escape the scriptures where it talks about the bull, the lion, and the man, and the eagle. So they have to give you an explanation. And correct so, they tell you that the bull is dealing with steadfastness, power, the attribute, the divine attribute that humanity is bestowed with, endowed with, and that is power. We have power. We have lots of power. And aren't the ruling elite going to know it when we awaken to it? Leo, they tell you, is dealing with strength and justice. So God's power and God's justice, the power to create the universe. He has justice. He's a just God. Leo represents justice. The eagle of Scorpio is wisdom, and don't we know how intensely wise they can be, you know? They're great teachers. Dan Winter is a Scorpio, great teacher. They go deep. Terence McKenna is a Scorpio. They're very, very esoteric. And so this sign is dealing with wisdom, the wisdom of God. And then, of course, the fourth attribute of God is love. Aquarius, the man, humanity, the love of humanity. They have four types of love. In Greek, they are agape, storgi, agapi, and philia, or philia, and that's in the word Philadelphia, love of brothers. It's brotherly love. And, sorry, the other love was eros, erotic love, excuse me. So you've got erotic, eros. Anyway, look, so man is the symbol of this kind of love, because other animals don't have all of those, the four types of love. Agape, call it agape love in English. Storge, love, which is principled love, I believe. And one of them is eluding me. Is it philia love, which is brotherly love, or is it erotic love? But anyway, animals are not fourfold in their love. And so these are the four attributes given to the body, the divinity that is given, the divine fixed cross, which is superimposed on the cardinal cross, which are the four elements that make up humanity, which are separate to the other elementaries and, not the elementaries, the elementals, like the sylphs and the salamanders and the gnomes, etc., who only have one element and participate in only one element. We participate in spirit, emotion, intellect, and physicality. And so we are special, but the fixed cross, those fixed qualities, the attributes of the divinity, power, justice, wisdom, and love, are superimposed on this body. And then, of course, the mutable cross is the process by which we metamorphosize, or in human speak, because metamorphosis is for animals and apotheosis is for humanity. This is where the next four signs, the mutable cross, is dealing with transformation of those four elements, those four essential elements that we've been given. Physical elements, because they are considered physical, even though air is spirit, fire is spiritual. It's still part of the physical fourfold nature of humanity. And the fourfold attributes that we have, which complete us, which really, those four are just representing the whole scheme of 12, because man is a 12-fold organism. We are Aries, the I am. We are Taurus, the I have. We think, Gemini. We feel, Cancer. We will, Leo. We analyze, Virgo. We balance, Libra. We want, Scorpio. We see, Sagittarius. We use, Capricorn. We know, Aquarius. And we believe, Pisces. And we have all of these. We are the 12 tribes of Israel, and they are in our bodies. But the fixed signs basically represent the rest more so than the others. Power, justice, wisdom, and love. And so as we consider the four signs of the mutable signs, we see how Pollux loved his brother so much that he reached out to his brother Castor, who was cast down. And see, he was cast down. So Pollux, who is divine and immortal, son of Zeus, decides to save his brother because by sharing in his mortality. And so one day one rules, the next day another rules. And so they tasted each of the two natures. This is telling us about the human nature.
I was gonna jump in there for a second. Just want to get your take on this. Just Cain and Abel. Abel is the female and Cain is the male aspect. What we were touching on last night was the War of the Roses, or the Rose, which is spirit, breath, and himself, herself, itself. And when I look at Castor and Pollux, I go phonic, right? Ka, stir, which is spirit, Ka, Egyptian, and stir, the divine feminine creative essence, right? So I want to try to get another twist on this with what you've got, and of course Pollux, right? And what was a favorite expression in Ireland? Bollocks, right? So or UK, right? There's a lot more to it, but when I think of Castor and Pollux, I think of Castor's as feminine and Pollux as the masculine. So what's your take on that?
Beautiful. Well, I've just, while you were saying all that, you've inspired me. I've gone to George Carey and Zodiac, The Salts of Salvation, which will probably be the second most important book you could ever read to know the science of salt, salvation.
Exactly. And one other thing I did want to mention, when you were going through all the elements of each sign, like Aries, I am, Taurus, I have, I think, etc. And all 12 zodiacs apply to these. For me, these are the 12 labors of Hercules. We have to learn all of these, but we also have to learn their mirror. So for me, the challenge, of course, I think the real challenge is I won't think, or I don't think, or I think not. Right, to show the singularity in that duality mirror. Just like Taurians, instead of cutting things in half, which they're the second sign duality, right? I have and I have not. Stop cutting shit in half and go singular, right? Again with the sounds. Throw the and have, and you'll see what I'm saying. Just like Aries is I am, and then the quest there is to be I am not, to find that middle ground, the equator. Same with all signs. I feel not for Cancer, right? Because look at our signs; they're so indicative of everything we are. I know so many people that are absolute classics in their sign. Scorpios especially, been very close with those. Aries, all of the signs. And when you look at them and see what their sign is saying, well, for me, the real lesson is. Like Sagittarius, I see. Well, I see not. What are you missing, right? What can you see? And Capricorn, what aren't you using? I use not. Or what shouldn't you use, right? So again, for me, and this is just me. I have to put everything in the mirror. I got to see both sides of that coin, the head and tail of that dragon. So it's not going to either bite my head off or whip me in the back of the head with the tail, right? So I want to stand on the rim and go, gotcha. So I wanted to throw that out there as well, because we have all of these elements within us. I mean, your rotor wheel, what do you call it, sync rota?
Yeah. Yeah,
the sync rota. I mean, you outlined that very clearly. And I can't stress enough to everybody that you need to know who you are. You're designed, you picked your choice and design. All your clues are there. They're all in allegory form. Start looking for them, and start looking. If we're going to look at something as being right or something as being wrong, we are caught in duality. What we have to see is the equator between those, right? So I'm glad we started off with the allegory of Ecuador, which is on the equator, yeah? So,
yeah.
So carry on.
Yeah, and we've come to this point about being balanced and seeing, that duality is just one thing. And this is going to be probably the best example that I will share with you now, Pollux and Castor. And I'm going to encourage you and the listeners to grab a pen and paper, because you will forever be grateful for this beautiful wisdom of George Carey from his book Zodiac of the Salts of Salvation. And please do read this book. Please delight yourself to know how wise we are truly as humanity, and how much the wheel of God, astrology, the zodiac, can help you. On page 88, in the sign of Gemini, we're now dealing with Gemini. Page 88, he says, Castor. Now this is going to be beautiful to help you understand duality, and how you always must see the other side of the coin. And if you can't do that, then you won't be able to learn the lesson of Pollux and Castor. Pollux, Castor is derived from Latin word castus, meaning pure caste. It's the same word as, like the caste system in the
India.
Hindu system. Yep. Yeah. Spotless, abstinence from sensual pleasure, chastity. While Pollux means to defile, to pollute. Notice the word pollute. Just take the X off Pollux and then just continue on with TE.
Well, here's another one for you. You said defile, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, how about D, as in to undo, or of, in French, phi, sacred creation, and L, power of spirit, right? not of the sacred design of the power of spirit.
Beautiful.
Okay, there you go.
Yep. So earlier on, I was speaking about Castor as being cast down, cast aside and thrown down, mortal Castor, cast down. Pollux is immortal. Well, let's flip the coin now. So we've seen the negative side of Pollux and the positive side of Castor. Now let's visit their opposite sides. On page 100, he goes on to say, he gives you the other side of these two brothers, different meaning. And he says, Pollux, let's have a look. Pollux, okay. So, Pol, literally meaning the word meaning to wash forth in Latin, and lux is light. So have a look at the word Pollux and separate them. You've got P-O-L to the left, and then L-U-X to the right. Now we all know the word lux, luxury. It's light. It's dealing with light. So Pollux contains the word to wash forth and to bring forth light. So, of course, Pollux is divine. He's shedding forth his lux, divine light, upon us. And then he goes on to say, sorry, I've confused.
Oh, that's okay. No, that's okay. Well, I was going to say with Paul, P-O-L, I mean, look at pole or poll tax, or better yet, polarized light. See, this is the trickery of words, right? You've really got to, open up phonics. This is why I tell people all the time, open up to the phonics and be creative with it. Just because it says P-O-L doesn't mean to say that's it. It's a root. It came from somewhere, and of course, letter by letter, it means something incredibly powerful too. But so when you say Pollux, as far as pollute or poll tax, you have polarized light, which is stuck in a duality.
Well, actually, that's perfectly correct. Perfectly, because I actually confused myself and everybody. Just correct what I said about that meaning to wash forth. I'll get back to that. Pol, P-O-L-L, he says, is the Middle English word for top of the head. So that's a pole. You see, that's why we have the North Pole on the Earth, because it's the top of the head.
Yeah, that works. And of course, telephone poles, the upright, directing towards heaven, as it were.
Yeah, so, but wash forth comes from the Latin verb polluere, P-O-L-L-U-E-R-E. So that's what wash forth comes from. Excuse me. So we'll just recap that. So pollux also comes from the word polluere, which means to wash forth. But when you divide the word, you have two words, pol, P-O-L-L, or you have the word lux. And pole is a pole, the top of the head in Middle English, and lux is light. So there he has now been saved from his earlier negative rendering, which is to pollute, you see. And now castor, the word cast means to throw violently, to cast off, to shed. It also means to expurge. This conglomeration of dual meanings for both castor and pollux substantiates the statement that each alternatively goes to a higher vibration, living in heaven one day, and to a lower, living in the earth the next day. Well, there you go. And the point I want to make from all of this is that Gemini is a transformative sign where we can transmute our humanity into divinity. We can be like Pollux and be a pole of light, or can pollute ourselves. Or we can be like cast or cast down, or we can be of a high caste. So we have the choice in Gemini. So Gemini is dealing with, basically Gemini is dealing with the transformative part of the air elements, because Libra, the cardinal air sign, balances. Aquarius, the fixed air sign, knows, right? And Gemini is the sign of thinking, you see. But it's rounding off all of the mental things that we do. We all think, we all know, and we all balance. We balance, our thoughts and our daily activities with our mind. So all of those air signs are describing our mental faculties. The higher ones, knowing, Aquarius. The lower ones, thinking, Gemini. Because Castor can be very, very low in his thinking. He pertains to the mortal body of humanity. We have two natures, an immortal nature and a mortal nature, obviously. So we have an oversoul and we have a lower soul. And so one dies and reincarnates, and the other one lives on to see the growth, and to witness the growth of the individual through personalities, bodies. And so the next mutable sign, Virgo, Earth, she's associated with myrrh. She's holding the posy in her hands, she's holding the grain, the myrrh, she's the harvest, the sacrifice, it's service. She's the handmaid. She's always, Mary, the Virgin Isis, Virgo, is always holding her hand out, you see, because she's the handmaiden. Often in Scripture it talks about the handmaiden of the Lord, because they knew in antiquity that Virgo is holding her hand out. And they knew that this was the service sign, the sign of work, harvest. Go out and collect the harvest. harvest all the hard work you've done on the earth. It's an earth sign. And so you will reap if you serve. Then Sagittarius is about seeing. It's the sign of religion, the ninth sign. Spirituality, dreams, visions, transformation. And to see is to be able to see spiritual things, because Sagittarius is a spiritual sign. It's fire. It all interconnects. Whereas you see Virgo being of earth. Earth is the bottommost element. It's the most solid, and so hence it absorbs all the preceding elements. It has the nature of air, fire, and water. It is unique, you see. So only Virgo is complete. It's a transformation sign. It's mutable, and it is complete with all the elements. It has a little bit of fire. It must have. That's the nature of earth. And then you come to water, and of course Pisces is the last sign, and it's the sign of belief, because if we don't have enough belief to bring us into the next stage, we have to believe in this process. Believe is not blind belief that they teach in churches. See, Pisces is a sign of spirituality too. We know that. It's a sign of, it's more like a sort of a karmic sort of a spiritual sign. And so Pisceans are always wishing to connect with something higher than themselves, a fish that is always going upward, ever upward. And so we need belief to start the cycle again. And so does the sun. That's why the sun, in its yearly orbit, if we consider the sun to be starting in Capricorn rather than Aries, because you can start it in both places. So if you start on the 25th of December, when the sun is the smallest in the sky, and the sun begins to right ascend along the ecliptic. And by the way, right ascension, Ra, is the word Ra. And this is why the sun is called Ra, because the sun can only right ascend. It can't decline like the other planets. See, only an astrologer really gets to understand and appreciate this, and astronomers. But the sun can only right ascend. The sun can only be Ra. All the other planets, they have declination. They can participate in latitude. The sun cannot. He is the ruler of the ecliptic. He can only ever be on the ecliptic. He can't wander and decline and be participating in declination. This is why you'll find Venus will always be, 2 degrees negative declination or opposite 2 degrees positive declination. And, very, very rarely will she be 0 declination as the sun is. So this is why only the sun is considered to be Ra, right ascension. So as the sun right ascends from Capricorn and waxes and climbs to Cancer, the Tropic of Cancer, so as it goes, goes up and down like a yo-yo from the Tropic of Cancer to the Tropic of Capricorn. But the first 3 months of its waxing through the signs of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, that's the wilderness. You see, Jesus gets baptized at 30 years. Which are 30 degrees or 30 days of the sun on the ecliptic. So the sun is born on the 25th of December, 30 degrees thereafter, 30 days after, it enters the sign of Aquarius. January, John, Janus, January or January the Baptist, because Aquarius is pouring down waters on the sun, baptizing the sun. But the scriptures tell you that immediately after being baptized, Jesus, the Son, Jesus, goes off into the wilderness for 40 days to be tempted by Saturn, because you see, Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius, and Saturn rules the winter. And it's hard to escape the winter. Even the sun struggles to lengthen its rays. And this is why we celebrate 40 days of Lent, because the sun is lengthening its rays and striving to reach the 21st of March, where it can judge. You see, because Aries, when it enters, the 21st of March, the sun enters Aries, the lamb. And in Greek, Aries is krios. Krios is the word to judge. Aries is the judge. Opposite him is the scales of Libra, to judge. The equinox is all about judging. In fact, the line of the equator is called the line of truth in ancient mysticism. And it's the spiritual axis, not the physical solstitial axis of emotions and physicality, Cancer and Capricorn. We're talking spirit, fire, and intellectual air of Libra. We are talking about spirituality here, you see. And so when the sun reaches this beautiful spiritual sign of Aries, and the Christians celebrate Easter, and the Jews celebrate Pesach, Passover, and the sun passes over and they eat the lamb and, herbs, bitter herbs and unleavened bread. Or what Christians do, they eat hot cross buns, you see, because the sun has crossed over in Easter. And so what happens is the earth rejoices because the sun, krios, you see, in krios also we get the words critical, to criticize. What do you do when you offer critique? Well, you judge. So krios, the Lamb of God, is judging and dividing the light between 12 hours of night and 12 hours of day on the 21st of March, and henceforth the sun will be increasing its rays, its benefic rays, and the days will be longer and the nights will be shorter. Whereas in Pisces, in the time of the 40 days of Lent, you see, Jesus is fasting in the wilderness, the sun is fasting. Well, they give him a bit of fish on Friday because every Friday the Catholics have a bit of fish because they're in Pisces. So, of course, we only eat the sacred animal of Pisces during Lent. And so, finally, the sun exalts. In fact, that's why in astrology, Aries is the sign of the exaltation of the sun. In theology, it's the sign of the resurrection of Jesus. You see, this is why Christians go and celebrate the death and the resurrection of their risen Saviour. You see, he rises. Well, exaltation and resurrection are basically the same word. Look in the dictionary carefully and you will see that they mean exactly the same thing. So astrology calls it exaltation, theology calls it resurrection. And so the sun, it's teaching us that the sun is now resurrected and it is prepared to give us another good and acceptable year of the Lord, in which we will continue to live cyclically by means of the beautiful harvest of bread and wine that the sun gives us in September in Libra. And Leonardo da Vinci knew this science. This is why he placed Jesus Christ at the Last Supper in the beautiful famous painting where Jesus is dividing his 12 signs of the zodiac. The sun is separating 6 on his right, 6 on his left, and they are clustered in groups of 3s to indicate the seasons. So to Jesus' left, as you view the Last Supper, you will see Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, the signs of spring, clustered together. Then you'll see the next signs of summer, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, to the right of Jesus. And have a look at how pretty Virgo looks. She's a beautiful looking disciple there. Cancer is pointing to the absence of her Adam's apple, pointing to it, saying, "Hey, Jesus, cute little disciple you've got here, this virgin type here, Virgo. She's a bit of a fox. Thanks for having her at the banquet." And then to the right of Jesus, to our right, as we view the Last Supper, you see Libra, beautiful green Venetian-looking disciple, another sexy girl to Jesus' left. She's spreading her arms out wide to indicate the scales of Libra. She's clustered in a group of three, the autumnal months of Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. And then, lo and behold, you see black Capricorn. Wonder why an apostle turns up in black attire for the Last Supper. Oh, I suppose it is a sad occasion, but nonetheless, Capricorn's ruler Saturn is always dressed in black. And he's also facing the opposite direction of Jesus, because Saturn is the opposer of Jesus. And of course he's not going to be facing Jesus as Sagittarius is next to him. Sagittarius is standing up, looking at the Lord, Jupiter. That's Peter, and he's looking at the Lord with love in his eyes. But Saturn, he's facing the other way. And he belongs to the fourth cluster of disciples, and they make up the summer months of the winter months of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And so, when you look at the, I can spend hours on the Last Supper. Leonardo da Vinci was there to tell us, one day when you dudes wake up, you'll know where I was coming from with this picture, with this painting, because you also will know Syncretism, the science of light. And when you look at the third disciple from the left, you notice he's holding his two hands up. That's Gemini. The hands, excuse me, the hands and the arms belong to Gemini. So, but a funny thing happened in Ecuador when Johnny was filming the film Syncretism, the Science of Light. He was in a cathedral and he was looking up and he noticed there was the Last Supper was there, and he was looking at it, and there was a gentleman there, and he said to the gentleman, he said, "Look," and he went through the Last Supper, and he said, "You know, this is the zodiac." And the guy was skeptical, of course, because he was he was a faithful adherent of the Catholic,
a churchy antiist.
Yeah, perversion, and so he could not possibly grasp the beauty and the truth that is lying in this beautiful painting. And so he replied, Johnny said to him, look, see, look at this disciple. He's got his hands. This is Gemini. This is the twins. And you know what the guy said to him? This is truth. You can all of the listeners and yourself, you can if you need to verify this, which you won't, because why would I say say something that is so ridiculously untrue? The guy turned around and said to Johnny, "Yes, but what about, maybe this guy was holding his hand up to stop the photographer when the photographer was taking the shot."
Well, that's about the time that I just, hey, well, listen, great talking to you. I'm out of here.
Radio.
Yeah.
See you later.
Was it a Polaroid that Da Vinci had? One of those land cameras, maybe? Because they developed right in front of you. Or do you think, no, they didn't have digital back then.
Yeah, well, probably a Sony. Yeah.
You know what it was? It was one of those Fred Flintstone cameras, where they got the bird inside that does all the the etching. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So this is the mentality you're dealing with. Beautiful it is when you accept the truth rather than resist the truth. The truth is in everyone's heart. It's not with the priestcraft, so they can allure as many unsuspecting fools as they wish. But those fools will always have cognitive dissonance, and I speak for myself. I was a Jehovah's Witness for a couple of decades, and I suffered with cognitive dissonance because in my heart of hearts, the light that was vibrating in my heart was saying, hey, dude, you know, what this buffoon on the platform is saying and what this Rockefeller-funded corporation, the Watchtower and Tract Society Incorporated, pedophile morons are transmitting through the platform and through the the Watchtower magazine, is buffoonery. And so what you hear being taught to you and what you know to be the truth will always clash. And so the sooner we discard the priestcraft, and that's what I'm here for. Santo Bonacci is here to serve humanity in this way, to ensure that one day, if there is such a thing as a priestcraft, it will be the likes of Hypatia, Pythagoras, Jesus, Buddha, and all of these beloved brothers of ours, brothers and sisters who have lived in the past and taught us that to be a knower of the divine light that we are is preferable to being an opinionated, thinking believer that will, at the drop of a hat, slaughter you and thrust a sickle into your throat for having dissimilar beliefs. So wouldn't it be better if we all just, made, we don't have to do anything positive. We don't have to do anything negative. We don't have to do anything at all other than to continue to expose the beautiful light that's coming down. And so the sooner the priestcraft are done with, and we've finished with that chapter of this sad history of bloodshedding and mind-controlling others, and having an ecclesiastical court system whereby you pay penance and indulgences to the satanic bar foreign agents who betray you and turn you over as attorneys to the priests of Baal and put you in jail and throw you in cages. And wouldn't it be better if we just sort of, got along, perhaps developed the loving side of humanity where everybody can have a feed? It'd be nice to see those Africans, having nice, muscular bodies full of food in their tummies and full of abundance, because after all, the universe is pure abundance. So the sooner we get rid of these controlling buffoons who produce shortages and problems so that they can give you a solution.
I was going to say it's about replacing the dark Pharaohs with the light Pharaohs. That's the real displacement that I see. There's that Pharaoh ratio again, eh? That's how I see Egypt, right? Again, it's about this duality, right? We're dealing, and for me, it is strictly the war of the roses. It's the war between the divine feminine, divine masculine. Something that we brought up last night, I think you'll find quite interesting. And I have a couple of questions for you as well, and I do have a caller waiting too, so I just want to throw this in. But when you go back in history, as far as what we're told, there's no such thing as history in the now. Everything is now. Like there's no, you got to lose the concept of past, because even things that were written 1,000 years ago matter right now, because this is now, and you read them in the now.
All timelines are converging.
Yeah, they are. And this is how we converge them, by getting rid of this, this future prophecy and past history nonsense, and bring everything into the moment. And this is what I've really been nailing home for the last couple of weeks. Another great allegory of this concept is the War of the Roses. You had the House of York. Now, do a little research on York, and you'll find some New York. There's very interesting stuff going on here. You had the House of York and the House of Lancaster. Of course, the red and the white. red, and there's your barber pole, there's your stop sign, there's your Swiss flag, red cross. All the pharaohs, the dark pharaohs, went to Switzerland, and there's your octagon with a stop sign. And we covered a ton of stuff this week. And right between the houses of York and Lancaster is a mountain range called the Pennines. And of course, Pen, meaning head, or heaven, heaved up, right, head. And of course, 9 being consciousness, and with the ES at the end, that for me is the reversal or the mirror of the himself, herself, itself, right? So all of these things work together allegorically, and this is one of the joys that like listening to what you're talking about today. I really want to sit and have a chat with you one-on-one when you get a couple of hours, just to pull a few things together with you, and just I want to take what you've got and show it in an even more magnificent light of the allegories that are being shown here. Like, what is the allegory of your life, your story, your sign, and how are you fitting in this magical play with all these, of course, timelines converging, because that's what's going on right now. And when you were talking about the equator, it makes total sense that you would be a couple of kilos lighter, because you're at the fastest moving point of the Earth. Whereas if you were to go from the equator to the North or South Pole and become polarized, you would become more leaded, heavier. So the further away you get from balance, the heavier and more mass you get. There's your allegory of, if you've moved too far to the feminine or too far to the masculine, you're out of balance and you're going to be very heavy and weighted, allegorically, right? Now we talk about the central sun of Gaia, right? Agartha is what they call, I guess, the hollow earth, which for me is another allegorical metaphor of us. We have our sun within, our Merkaba, and as above, so below, and then we have our sun here for our solar system. And of course, our sun is within a galaxy where Alcyon is that central sun. And there's going to be another central sun beyond there, fractally out, fractally in, right? To infinite large as a concept and infinitely small as a concept. So I just want to kind of toss that stuff in there too, to show a couple more layers of how beautiful this information is. And did you want to take a question or two?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's one here from Bindi. When metal was added to the 4 elements, did our reality start to warp into what it is today? What's your take on that?
Sorry, shoot again.
Okay, when the element metal, was added to the 4 elements, did our reality start to warp into what it is today?
No. Metal is in the Chinese system. They have 5 elements. They have metal and wood, which replaces our air element. But these work exceptionally well with the 4 elements, or the 5 elements that we have 5 elements too. We have ether, you see. So, but I'm about to syncretize the Chinese system with the Hermetic system anyway. So I'm going to be dealing with that. But metal, if you want to connect our element system with the Chinese one, it's quite easy. They put their wood. They start their wood at March the 21st. That's where they put their wood in spring. So if for instance, for those of you who are familiar with the syncretism and the sine wave that I use, the sine wave of nature, they would put their wood element there at the 9 o'clock position on say a clock, or where the ascendant is, where I start with March the 21st, right? So then they put fire at the Cancer solstice, June the 21st, right? Of course, summer. So wood ushers in the spring, fire ushers in the summer, and then they put metal there at Libra for autumn, and then water for winter. And earth they put in the middle of this system. It doesn't actually go round, the 5 don't go round the circle. They have 4 elements round the circle, but earth is in the middle of all of this. So so you see how the air of the ether or the ether and air element basically in the Chinese system are on the equinoxes. You see where Aries and Libra are. So Aries has the air, the wood, and wood. It has to do with Jupiterian, the Jupiterian archetype, the wood of spring. Anyway, but it's air and ether is the equivalent in our system, and they are there in Libra and Aries.
Perfect. And I was going to ask you too. Do you have time, or do you feel like doing any charts tonight? I've got a few people asking this why.
Can do. Okay,
it's entirely up to you. I'm really enjoying what we're doing, but there's I've got one caller here. I've got Stola and Ninja in line for charts, and I'm just going to open up a line here, and because we're at 2:15 here. So I just wanted to see if you were into that, and can you feel them chomping at the bit? I can. Anyway, here's a caller, area code 810.
Hi, Kate. Hi, Santos.
Hey.
Pleasure to see you guys again.
Hey, how are you?
Good. This is Buck.
Buck, how are you? Good to have you on the show.
I had a question for Santos, and maybe a chart if he could have the time, but the sun, to me, I want to talk about the sun. It just seems the last 3 years, it just seems so more intense and bright. Is there something going on we're not aware of?
It just went quadrupolar in May, but carry on, Santo. I can explain the double cross on that one.
No, sorry, I didn't hear that properly. Can you repeat that, Kate?
Oh, it's about the difference in the sun over the last couple of years.
It just seems more intense. More uncomfortable.
It's more intense. And I know what you're saying because it's so much whiter and purer now. What I just said there about the sun, it went quadrupolar in May, just this May past. And what that means is there's no east-west. It is a double cross of north-south polarity.
Oh.
So
it's split at polarity?
Yes, and
okay.
What that indicates to me is what I've been talking about for the last little while with regards to the duality of each part of the duality. You have your divine feminine good, your divine feminine evil, your divine masculine good, your divine masculine evil. So there's your quadrupoles, right?
Okay.
So I look at the allegories of it. It's hard for me to put this into words a lot of times. This is why I'm glad I do as many shows as I do, because it's each show becomes more of an evolution into the next one. So
that's a good.
Yeah,
thing.
it's a beautiful.
Unless
what it
you're
is
to multitask to keep track, I guess, and finish through with your thoughts.
Exactly. And what we're dealing with right now, you're seeing the allegorical results of our spiritual intent. This is where I talk from and where I deal from. I don't play the physical at all. I mean, everything for me, and Santo, you've walked this path with me for a long time, everything for me had to be connected as above, so below. How was the physical, which is the created past, how is it being mimicked by the spiritual creative now, or the present? Have you caught any of the stuff I've been talking about, how to get into the present?
Yes,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're talking to me?
Oh, but everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to get your show every night. Every 3 days I download about 3 episodes, and I play through them over the 3 days, pretty much all day.
Okay, good stuff. So you're up to speed on what we've been doing then?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, eh?
Oh, my God. Thank you for your perspective. It's enlightened me so much, and Santos also. It's just great being able to decode my reality in a sense.
That's what it is. We're decoding it, and for me, it was critical to get people into the before now. That's how you merge the timelines. Because, as I've been saying, everything you look at, that's why I refer to the light outside of us as poison, because it's all in the past. You will never see things as they are, only as they were, because of there's the problem with time and the speed of light, right? It takes time, even the tip of your nose to your eye, it still takes time to get there, so it's past. So
well, that's one of the main reasons why I'm calling. I'm asking other people for their perspective also. Do you think the sun is more intense? And I do get, but is that something I'm creating for them to reply in that sense? Is this a personal thing? Is this because I'm becoming more spiritual, that the sun feels more uncomfortable to me for some reason?
Well, what I see it as, in terms of it getting brighter, I don't. Well, it's intense. Like when the sun's out, it's just hard to be in it. And what that is for me is the direct net result of this gathering of the intentions getting lined up, the clocks that are starting to tick-tock together. And this is how we change the reality, right? You can have, this is the if but one shall awaken that I've been so focused on my whole walk. You can come up with a truth. We'll put that in quotes, and it doesn't become a truth until it actually resonates with another part of our consciousness. If you think of everyone on this planet as a neuron, which we are, of the consciousness, like a brain, the brain of Gaia. Yeah. It's about getting all those neurons connected and starting to fire together. That's why this whole divide and conquer has been critical. We are the mind of Gaia, and collectively, and what
we've
the divide and conquer.
Fractalized.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Yep.
That's it, right like that.
Yep. So
yeah, it's a lot more intense, and it's. For me, it's a direct reflection of the light that is shining from within us, being reflected back. Okay. We're the ones creating this.
Yeah.
The dark pharaohs got it backwards. That's why they were worshiping the creation instead of being the creation, and
right.
that's why it's we're turning it around finally.
Yeah.
And you're witnessing.
If Santos has time, I'd like to give him my birth date if he would like to do a chart.
Okay.
I'm kind of new to it, and I'd like to have, I guess, myself explained to me a little more.
Okay. If you can hold on, I got two people that were in line last week that are here right now. Yeah, we'll get to you. No problem. I just wanted to make sure that was okay with Santo, because I've got Stola, which. We ran out of time last week, and he was next in line, and Ninja, and then yourself. So is that okay with you, Santo?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your take on the sun? Just real quick.
Yeah. It's now in a different element. You see, of course, it's brighter. Aquarius is air. Pisces was water. The 50-year cusp of Pisces ending finished at the end of 2012. We're out of the cusp, and that convergence point, that started in '62. So you have every transition or cusp period from sign to sign is 50 years long, and so that was a pretty confusing 50 years. That was just a cusp we went through, and a mutable, transformative Piscean one too, merging with the knowing consciousness of Aquarius, with Uranus as its ruler. Electric. How electric is Uranus and Saturn? They've taken over. And so the sun is shining through their energy vibration, through their key signature vibration. And so it is projecting down to us what Uranus and Saturn are all about. And they are about illumination, ascension. Yeah, it's a different air. Of course it is.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's getting a whole lot clearer because it's not having to go and get refracted through the water now. That's why things are becoming so much clearer. We're chasing these things down a lot faster. And it's happening exponentially. I'm sure all those that are tuned in have been watching it in real time, their own time finally. So, and you know how to get home. Just close your eyes, go deep, shut up, turn the thoughts off, and try to spot your dragonfly. But I've got Stola here, Santo. He's in the call. If you want, we'll start with him, and then Ninja.
Before you do, I just want to reach out to your listeners that might be really well versed in Walter Russell, because I'm actually looking for a quote. It's in the book, A New Concept of the Universe. One of the listeners might be able to help us, because I want them... there's a beautiful quote by Walter Russell. What you were talking about before really struck a chord with me, Kate. You said that everything that's happening out there is not in the now, it's in the past. And Walter Russell explains this perfectly with one sentence. And maybe the listeners can help me. It's a quote where he talks about how light is the thinking process of God manifesting creation is recorded and voided as it is being created. Then as it is being voided, hang on, I've gone a step too far. Anyway, it's about voiding the process. Everything that is happening and emanating from God is being voided at the same time and recorded at that moment that it is being voided and then repeated. And this is how reality is happening.
Yeah, it gives the illusion of... Well, think of it like a movie picture frames. When we pass into the next frame, the last one's destroyed, or it has to be destroyed, recorded at that instant, to go into the next one, destroyed, created, next one, and yeah, I totally... That is how I see time can only exist in the now. So whatever, two things cannot occupy the same time and space at the same time. So actually, Bill Donahue did a video. He just put it out on teleportation, and it's that very same concept of like the Beam Me Up, Scotty transporters on Star Trek, where the original, in order to move it, has to be destroyed completely. A copy is taken, it is moved to where it's going to go, and in the process, once the copy is where it's supposed to be, that's why they have copyright, boys and girls. I'll talk about that another night. But what happens then is once the copy is made and has been transported to where it's going to be, the original is destroyed in that process. But it's also recorded at the same instant. So I totally get that concept, Walter Russell. I wish that would have saved me a whole lot of thinking. But anyway, there you go.
It's three-phase reality. It's coming to us. Reality is coming to us in three phases, and that's cardinal, fixed, and mutable.
Yep.
Birth, growth, decay. Generator, operator, dissolver. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. God, G-O-D. Generate, operate, degenerate, etc., etc. So it's three-phase, and it's cardinal, fixed, and mutable, and this is what astrology is teaching us, because the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. The Father is, when you look at the triplicity of fire. That's what it's talking about. The Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Aries is the Father, because the ram is Abram. Abram means the father ram. Abba, in Hebrew, means father. In Aramaic, it's Baba. Ab or Bab, either way, it means father. Right? Now, and that's where we get the word Papa from. The Pope, in Italian we say Papa. It comes from Baba. You see, Catholicism is Babylonian. It's Babylon. Because the Papa, the Pope, is the Baba, the daddy, the father. And so Abram, Aries the ram, is the father. Leo is the sun. The sun rules Leo. The sun and the moon only have one rulership, whereas the planets have two rulerships. And Leo is the only domicile of the sun, SUN-LEO. S-U-N or /S-U-N, because the sun is the sun. And then the Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit is the mutable dove, the transformative dove, the Holy Spirit, which transforms us. And that is the mutable signs, or in particular Sagittarius, the beast becoming the man. The transformation, the duality of it. Holy Spirit is two words. So there's a two-ness. It's where all the work gets done, in the mutable signs. And so, and this is the three-phase electricity that Walter Russell is talking about. There is a thought wave universe. As those thought waves are being produced, they are voided the moment they are being produced, recorded the moment they are voided, and then repeated the moment they are recorded. And that's what's going on. And it's blinking, it's pulsating. It's a thought wave pump. The universe is a big thought wave pump. And fractally, that's what everything else is doing. Nothing else is not conforming to that. That's light. That's syncretism. That's how the universe gets things done. So when we look at someone's chart, we're looking at the imprint that they were imprinted with all of these dynamics and drivers and propensities and strengths and weaknesses. So, for instance, let's consider one, because I've only got a half an hour. At top of the hour, I have to go. So, let's have a look at what's the details for this chart. Can you please give me the details?
Well, I'll bring Stola in, and there you are, Stola.
Yeah, hello. Good evening.
There you are.
From over here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can give Santo your details, and let's get rolling and see how much we can get done here.
Yeah. It's Sunday, 25th of July, 1965.
Okay, 25th of July, 65. Time?
Yeah, and time is 1:05 p.m. Universal Time, 11:05.
1:05 p.m. and place.
Yeah. Oslo, Norway.
Okay, 25th of July, a little baby line, 65, 1965, 1:05 p.m. Oslo.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
No, I'm just getting an imprint for it. I'm just, taking it in and just looking at some of these placements.
Yeah, no, that's why I say uh-oh, because I know what you're doing. Absorbing.
Alrighty. Let's have a go. This chart is very, very interesting, to say the least. What's really interesting me is the three conjunctions that I see. Jupiter and the Moon in Gemini, 9th house. By day, it's a day chart. Obviously, if you were born at 1 p.m., you were born during the day. So you've got a day chart. Jupiter loves a day chart in the 9th house, absolutely. But with the Moon, together with the Moon, she's a night girl. She doesn't like day charts. So this conjunction is interesting. It's a beautiful conjunction. There's no doubt about it. This is very, very good, healthy energy, but it will have a slight negative side to it because of the Moon, you see. This is the tricky thing about astrology. The Moon does not like the day charts. She loves being below the horizon, with the Sun below the horizon as well. That's her best place. Her next best place is when she is above the horizon, but the Sun must be below the horizon. As long as it's a night chart, whether she is above or below the horizon. She also prefers to be below the horizon too. A chart with the Moon below the horizon by night is really good for the Moon, right? Now, the other one that I see is Venus and Mercury conjuncting. That's a very, very, very sexual conjunction there, brother. That's in the 10th house, in Leo, and the Sun is also in Leo because you are a Leo, of course. The Sun is right on the MC. My God, I'll tell you, big fortunate energy is pouring into your life by virtue of the Sun being on the MC in Leo. Rest assured.
Oh.
And also lots of good things by having Mercury and Venus. Mercury and Venus is not a bad thing. No, it's equally as good as having your Moon and Jupiter conjuncting. But astrologers that are listening in, they will understand why I am just focused on these two conjunctions. They will know exactly why. And your North Node, by the way, is in Gemini with the Moon and Jupiter. So this is a pretty good stellium you've got here. This is I'd call that a stellium, even though it's the North Node. It's not actually a star, but having those two stars, the Moon and Jupiter together, well, I'll have a look at that in a minute, but this is going to be a good chart for the listeners to learn, a lot in general, right? So we'll do that. Now, you've got a Libra ascendant. That's going to attract a lot of enemies. Mars is on the ascendant too. Very, very martial. This is very aggressive energy for your ascendant. Really, really powerful there. My goodness. Mars in Aries. So there's going to be a lot of enemies, I would say, in your life, brother. Having Mars in Libra and Libra on the ascendant. Firmicus Maternus talks about that. Now, let's see. The depositor of Libra is Venus in a good place. That's good. Your ascendant ruler, Venus, is in a really good place. So your ascendant is very healthy, brother, even though it will attract enemies by having Mars in there. And also, Mars, if Aries is the ascendant, if Libra is the ascendant, of course, Aries must be the descendant. And descending is not really a good thing. So to have Mars on your ascendant, posited opposite to where Aries is, on the descendant, also is a little bit of judgment there. There's some kind of a judgment towards enemies, I would suggest. All right? So that's what I'm saying there about that. The ruler of your chart, of course, is going to be Venus if your ascendant is Libra. But going by the Moon, it would be Mercury because your Moon is in Gemini and it must transit the signs of Cancer and Leo to get into Virgo to qualify for rulership. Because Firmicus Maternus says where your Moon is, the next sign is the ruler of your chart, or its ruler is the ruler of your chart. But because Cancer and Leo do not qualify, because the Sun and the Moon do not participate, they have enough strength in the native's chart as it is. Only the 5 can participate in rulership, so that would be Mercury. And Mercury is the closest planet to your Sun, so there's 2 givens, indicators for Mercury being the ruler. So we've found Venus and Mercury. The first degrees of Leo, your Sun is in the first degrees of Leo. That belongs to Saturn. So another way of determining the ruler is where the Sun is by day, the terms in which it's in. So the Sun, it's a day chart, it's in the terms of Saturn, so Saturn is also going to be a co-ruler here. The other thing to look for is the most dignified planet in your chart. That's going to be a bit difficult, really, by going by essential dignities, because none of your planets are in their homes. No planet in your chart is domiciled, unfortunately. So there's no essential dignity there. You don't have a domicile, or... Oh, no, well, the Sun is domiciled, of course, in Leo, yes. But, of course, it doesn't qualify, so we're looking for the best placed of the 5 planets. And thinks that will be either Saturn in the 5th or Jupiter in the 9th, even though they are not in their homes. But those houses are good, especially the 5th house, Saturn. So I just want to check the health of Saturn in the 5th. Yeah, Saturn in the 5th house, if by day, will make kings and leaders very powerful men. But if the Sun is on the degree of the ascendant, and Saturn comes into conjunction with the waning moon, no, it does not apply. Let's have a look at Saturn. No. Now, what's good about Saturn is that the Sun is in a very, very beautiful place. Rest assured, brother, the best thing about your chart is the Sun on the MC in Leo. Okay? Number one beautiful point about your chart. This will guarantee you some goodies in life. Guaranteed. And Saturn, so even though Saturn is participating in a very, very strong T-square, you have a T-square in your chart, which is a very challenging angle, but the T-square is in good houses. It's in the 5th, 11th, and 9th. So it's going to be a goodie. But Saturn in the 5th, even though he's part of this T-square and retrograding, it's still going to be a benefic, outcome by having Saturn by day in this house. You're not going to be king and leader. Firmicus really goes over the top, really, sometimes, but you're going to be well positioned many times in your life, many times, and you'll be respected for that air that you carry, that light that you have to command this kind of respect. So that's a good thing. I wouldn't say it's the second best thing though. I'm sort of more looking towards Jupiter there. I'll have a look at Jupiter. Jupiter in the 9th house by day. Yeah, great spiritual things. Any planet in the 9th house is going to stir up your spirituality, for good or for bad. Moon in the 9th house, Jupiter in the 9th house, that's got to be good. Let's have a look at Jupiter-Moon conjunctions. Now, I've got to do acrobatics here to get this stuff done.
Yeah, and par for course, eh?
Yeah, greatest good fortune, infinite riches, and prosperity. Brother, I don't know how well placed you are in terms of riches, but I guess that's not so important for people like, your kind of listener, Kate, but rest assured, having the Moon, the North Node, and Jupiter conjunct like this, and the Moon and Jupiter are only 3 degrees separate from each other. Now, I want to elaborate on that. I want to just check where Firmicus talks about conjunctions, and I want to see what it says about Jupiter and Moon conjunction. Jupiter and the Moon in the same sign indicate the greatest good fortune, especially if they are in the same degree, for then they bestow infinite riches and such marks of prosperity that the natives are always super superior to their parents. But if it is in a nocturnal chart and the Moon holds more degrees than Jupiter, this whole forecast is weakened and the good fortune lessened. So you see what I said earlier about the night chart, the Moon loving the this is because of Jupiter. Yeah, because Jupiter. So Jupiter is carrying the Moon out of her doldrum, you could say. If Jupiter was below the horizon with the Moon, if Jupiter was together with the moon, because it gives so much prosperity and abundance, it would be lessened. But because you have Jupiter and the moon in a day chart conjuncting in Gemini in the 9th house, this is the second best thing you have in your chart. You have two glorious things in your chart. Now, the other thing I think is going to be good is Mercury and Venus in the 10th house, but only you will know this, brother. There's a lot of sexuality going on here. One only needs to look at the chart of, let's have a look at Giacomo Casanova, for instance, a very famous Aryan of the 18th century. He was known to, have a lot of liaisons with sexual liaisons. You look at his chart and you'll see Mercury and Venus in the 5th house, the house of sexual liaisons. And, and also other planets there too that are very, very sexy. I think it's Mars and Jupiter, all in the 5th house. But in particular, he has this same conjunction as yourself, Mercury and Venus. And voila, in the house of love affairs and, well, let me see. Let's have a look at the 5th house and its true meanings. So pleasure, joy, it's the house of pleasure. So he's got Mercury and Venus in the house of pleasure. No wonder the guy was in and out of jail because of having, the wrong kind of sex partners. For instance, the wife of the king, and stuff like that. Well, not literally, but he did, grab a few noble women in, less than compromising situations, put it that way. I don't know how to be nice here. I'm trying to find some nice words. But what I'm saying is, and only you know, brother, we don't need to discuss that. That's giving you a nice, beautiful sexual energy. So, but the other thing is Venus and Mercury conjunct are not aspecting with other planets. So that's very interesting. Perhaps you're not getting a flow of that sexual energy. Who knows? I don't know. But in the 10th house, this has to do with career, dignity, honor, distinction, glory, fame, power. And so that's an interesting one. I might have a look at Mercury by day in the 10th house. And so what are we doing this for? Okay, we're looking for the 5th indicator for ruler of your chart. We've found Venus, found Saturn and Mercury twice. We're looking for the most dignified. Oh, definitely Jupiter. Jupiter is dignified. There you go. So that completes your rulership. You've got to. Mercury is definitely the ruler. Mercury is the ruler of your chart. Undeniably, he gets two goes, and then Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn are there too. But Mercury in the 10th house, that's the last thing I'll do, unless you have any questions there, brother.
No, I'm just sitting here taking some notes.
Ah, good.
So, yeah.
What do we want? Mercury in the 10th. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Natives who have Mercury in the 10th house in the morning rising. It's not a morning rising, it's evening. Okay, evening rising, travellers. A lot of travelling. That will involve you in public business. Watery activities. No, watery activities are indicated if Saturn is in opposition. Nope. Yeah, okay, so travelling. A lot of travelling. But normally, Mercury in that house, people who are admirable, famous in all activities. That's a morning rising of Mercury. So Mercury precedes the sun in its rising. All All right, there you go.
You have any medical, a little bit, about something I should watch out for, maybe?
Well, yeah.
I feel very fine, but yeah.
Yeah, you pretty much won't. How old are you now?
I'm, how old?
48.
47.
Well, yeah, 47, because
okay.
you turn 48 next month.
47. Yeah. Well, okay. There's nothing in the 6th house or the 2nd or the 8th. No, there is something in the 2nd house, but it's Neptune well aspected. But usually if there's a planet in the 6th, you should sort of be slightly concerned. The next thing to look for is the lords of the ascendant. The lords of the ascendant. Your ascendant is Libra. And so we're looking for the lords of air and by day, and they would be Saturn, Mercury, and Jupiter, and all of those planets are very, very well aspected and placed in your chart, so you're going to have good health, period. But the points that you should be concerned about, or you should strengthen as you go, would be Saturn retrograding, receiving some severe oppositions and squares in Pisces. That's the nervous system. Saturn retrograding, and he's a malefic. This is a chronic condition. So there will be something disturbing your nervous system there with Pisces there, Saturn. Okay? And more specifically, the 15th degree, or the 16th degree, would be dealing with, nerves. So every time I see something in that Pisces-Virgo axis, of course, you've got Uranus and Pluto in Virgo, so, they are directly opposite Saturn, and this is a destructive, these two planets can be, these three in combination are very, very strong and destructive. So you might want to just, strengthen your nerves, iron phosphate, stuff like that, potassium phosphate, magnesium phosphate. The other one is the 12th and 14th degree of Virgo, something to do with the feet. Virgo, so the feet and the stomach, digestive problems. And the last one would be Jupiter and the Moon receiving those squares in that T-square you have. 19 and 21 degrees, Gemini.
With the feet, when I was a kid, I could walk around naked if I only had socks on.
Yeah, bare feet, you mean, yeah.
No, I could be all naked, but I had to put my socks on.
Sorry, I misunderstood. That's interesting, isn't it?
Hell of a picture, Stola.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this particular spot in Gemini is the eyesight. Watch your eyesight and appendicitis, and that's it. Eyesight and appendicitis.
Yeah, thank you very much. So sitting here with glasses, thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Santo. We're about 9 minutes to the to the rollover. Did you want to maybe? I talked to Ninja. She'll hold off if you want to do a bit of box, and I know you have to go, so that's why I'm always feeling the pressure. I know because there's so many people want to get this done.
I do have to go.
I know you do.
I've got to take my wife to the station.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, just going to do a quick shout-out here, criticalmassradio.co.uk, Paul Giovanni, Lisa and the crew, thank you guys so much for the platform we get to run every night here, and allows us to do this. So there you go. Bach, your line is still open if you, and again, if whatever we don't get accomplished tonight, I'm slowly trying to coerce Santo into, showing up maybe another night here and there. So, hint, hint. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. See, that's my mutability. So go ahead, Bach, if you want to do that, and then Santo, just leave when you have to.
Yeah, just short and make it short and sweet. My birth date is 12/24/1965 at 5:20 a.m.
12/24.
12/25. Yeah, 12/24/1965. 5:20 in the morning.
Hang on, sorry, because I'm 25, 12. Sorry, brother, I'm just 25. Sometimes I don't know why, but everything goes slow, real slow. So 25th of December, 1965.
No, 24th of December, 1965.
That's, you see, I knew something was not going right. Okay, time.
5:20 a.m.
Place.
Flint, Michigan.
Okay, so 24th of December, 65, 5:20 a.m., Flint, Michigan. And now I've got to go searching for Michigan, do I? Right, here we go. It's always the last one.
Yeah.
Or the one you can't find. As in right now.
Always. You know the routine.
There it is. Okay. Okay. Night chart, of course. Sun and Moon in Capricorn, Ascendant in Scorpio. Mercury in the first house is a goodie. Although he's in Sagittarius, a house that he doesn't like, and participating in a T-square. Now, so because we haven't got much time, the Ascendant being Scorpio will give you, the ruler of your chart will be, of course, Mars. So that's a really martial sign, that one. Oh boy. So Mars is prominent. Yeah. Mercury is also a taker there for ruler, closest to the Sun. I'm trying to find the most dignified. It's hard because you also don't have any essential. You don't have domiciles or exaltations. You don't even have triplicities. So the next dignities would be faces and bounds or terms. But let me see. Which would be? It'd be Mercury. Mercury. I'm giving it to Mercury. And, okay, let's have a look at the degrees that the Moon is in. She's in the 19th degree of Capricorn. Because it's a night chart, you don't use the Sun as the indicator, you use the Moon. You find that the terms in which the Moon is in is the ruler of your chart. And so, being in the 19th degree of Capricorn, that's Jupiter. So, Jupiter is another taker for ruler. Good, I'm glad, because he's in the 7th house and, you know, receiving a couple of bad aspects, a couple of squares and an opposition from the Sun, but to be ruler has given him more strength. So that's good, and it gives you more Jupiterian, all the good things Jupiter stands for. Now, having a Moon in Capricorn, though, when it transits Capricorn and enters Aquarius, its ruler is Saturn. You, too, also have a very spread-out rulership. You're also ruled by Mercury. He gets 2 goes. And you've got Mars, Saturn, Jupiter vying for co-rulership. So you also have a T-square, which is pointing to your first house. So, you know, that's a lot of energy directed to the first house. So somehow, by having Sag and Scorpio in your first house, you really are, you know, driven. This is a drive. This is pushing you. Sometimes not in a good way, though, because of the malefics involved in it, Saturn and Pluto and Uranus. So they're nudging you along. So having Mercury in the first house, Hermes, that's the seeker of wisdom, the teacher, the communicator. You should not have a problem with communicating. That's sure. There you go. Your North Node is in Gemini again, as the other person did from Oslo. Your North Node is in Gemini. That's the best place for it to be. So, keep that dog-eared, that in your ear, what's the word I'm looking for?
Keep it
mark
tucked.
that.
Yeah, keep it tucked away in your notes.
That's the one.
Yeah, highlight that one. Flash.
There you go.
Thank you, Santos.
All right.
Yeah, you heard. We got 90 seconds left here, guys. We're going to the recording. If you want to continue listening, I'll carry on once Santo has to go. As always, you know me, mouthpiece. And so call in here at 661-467-2401, and of course Skype in, refresh the page, hit the Skype button, or grab the archive. So is there anything else you wanted to go on with there, Santo?
No, that's about it. With the chart, you mean?
Yeah. Well, I know we got like a minute left here, so it's up to you.
Depends on what the person's looking for. There's certainly, again, as with the first person, Mars and Venus in Aquarius. That's another very sexual thing. Different kind, though. More aggressive than the previous Mercury-Venus. Mars is much more aggressive with Venus, so there's some sexual energy stuff going on there too. Jupiter in the 7th house, which is the house of marriage and partnerships. I would be looking for a very, very happy partner, because if you don't have that Jupiterian happiness, it can really sort of decay the and dissolve the beauty of the marriage. It can be a decadent sort of a force in the marriage. You need a happy, and everyone needs someone that's happy, of course. But this is stressed here. Jupiter in the 7th house and the North Node in the 7th house.
I don't know. I have an ability to press people's perception of things. I'm always
that's Mercury in the first house.
I'm always pushing their perception to find out where they're at.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of Gemini action going on there.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah. I'm the oddest person I've met, I guess.
There you go. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah. It's like running a race and always looking back over your shoulder like,
Well, listen, it looks like Nav John just lost power. I'll take care of that in a minute. What was going to say there? Yeah, it's that's the problem with being blatantly truthful, blatantly honest. You piss a lot of people off. Well, egos, not people. The beings are fine. It's the egos we've got to deal with, right? The TV doesn't want to change channel, but any other questions for Santo? I just want to say, Santo, great to have you back again on the Fridays, and you know me, the greedy whore bitch that I am. The truth, I'll get you in anytime you want. So. And I think I'm going to have to pop away for a sec. I got to move my car, but it's
well. I've got to fly too, unfortunately.
All right. Well, it looks like I'll throw a tune on, and hopefully I heard right, and this will be rather perfect timing, which never seems to be. It's always the case, right? Always in a panic, always in the stress. I'll have to check that on my chart, but thanks again, Santo. Always appreciated.
Yeah,
yes,
my
pleasure.
You, Santo. Yep, anytime. All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you. See you next week.
All right, take care. Yeah, there's the door opening, so I'm going to toss a song on. I'll be right back. We'll talk to you in a little bit, Santo. Much love.
I've never seen before my eyes this dream. I've never known what makes this child to see. Like tears from a mountain pouring gently to the sea, a curiosity. Will you dare to touch my soul? Is love so frail that we can't hope to be more than we are, more than our hearts can see? And if for any reason on this field of broken dreams we stand to lose it all, then for you, yes, I do it willingly. If this is our moment, captured in time, always to sustain, for lost in your eyes I find are the only means to remain. Searching relentlessly, just like a cloud, she chases the rain. We'll stand here firm, 'cause we are an island protected by love on this field of broken dreams. It's never clear, this path of destiny. That's why we're here, to find our need to be. Elusive as a rainbow, we can try to steal the gold, but she'll give it willingly. Will you dare to ask her though? We'll find a way, we must believe in us. There'll come a day, we'll soar, and when it does, the sky will have no boundaries. I will challenge every sea, I will never lose this dream. 'Cause for you, yes, I do it willingly. If this is our moment, captured in time, always to sustain, for lost in your eyes I find are the only means to remain. Searching relentlessly, just like a cloud, she chases the rain. We'll stand here firm, 'cause we are an island protected by love on this field of broken dreams. On this field of broken dreams.
And we're back. Sort of a false alarm there. I thought he was getting back, but he was just leaving, so I'm going to have to pop off in a few minutes here. So I've got Nav, John in with me at a power failure, and was on the board, so couldn't get back in, obviously, after the hour. So to the rescue. So I'm going to open up Bindy's line here, and I'm going to be leaning on you guys a little bit to carry things once I do have to go and move my vehicular unit. So anyone else wants to get in, please just hit 1 on your keypad, and I'll know that you want to join in. And there you go. So how are you doing, Bindy? And hello, Nav.
Hi there. I'm okay.
Excellent. All right, who's making all the bloody noise?
I don't know.
Someone's messing with their headset. It's all good. It's all good. Well, yeah, until I start bitching about it. I know. I've heard it before. But yeah, very Very interesting things going on. Oh,
sure.
someone has their speakers on now.
Not me.
Might be me. I'll check.
Check.
Yeah.
Okay. Might be you, John, because you're in the call with me.
I don't think so. I have my headset on.
Bizarre. Okay, what the hell was that then? Because I know all three of you guys have your headsets on. So do I. And they're the only lines that are open. That was weird. So anyway, I'll let you guys know that once I have to. It only takes me a minute to pull the car out and pull it back in. But in the meantime, I'll rather than put the song, I'd rather keep the energies going and kind of do a wrap up on what we've been going over this week and continue on from there. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Right on.
Let's do it.
And Stola, nice chart there, bud.
Yeah, it took my ego off, the little Leo ego.
Well, you see, there's the thing, right? Because with every sign, your greatest power is also your greatest weakness, and that is the hard one to balance out. But you know, because so many times, and you know, I've had talked to Santo countless times, and especially with like doing charts and things like that. And one of the things, and oops, sir, I'll be right back. Remind me about charts, and I'll just be a sec. So take the floor, guys. Go ahead, Bindi. I know you'll take it.
Okay.
Go.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you want to give us a bit of insight about what you heard Santo saying about your chart? Because I just heard planets flying about. Could you decode it a little? Or do you want to, at least?
About the Mercury was in the 10th house?
Sure, just kind of more concrete. Santos gave us a load of planets, and for people that are not that versed in astrology, what was he actually telling you?
Oh, but Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun, and it's the messenger. It's the Hermes.
Yeah.
And I know I always look for something to wake people up, so that's the only thing I've been doing the last years. And I think I've become pretty good at it, or maybe it's people just being bad at waking up. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
it's a good analogy. Mercury before the sun. So there's you. You're the cowbell in the morning, just before the sun comes up, or the bird chorus. Nice.
Yeah, and with the enemies, they are there, of course, and but I love them, and that's okay. So, yeah. Or else I thought I would listen back on it. So.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in one go, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I sat here with the chart in front of me so I could follow him, and with the eyesight, that was what I was wondering about, because it's always been. I had one almost blind eye, and that was the right one.
Right.
So I've been training. I was training that in school with a plaster on one eye. Yeah.
Like a lazy eye muscles on one side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been rubbing wee into your eyes?
No. But I had some. Yeah, but I'm doing the looping, and I had some. What's it called? Pus in one in the left eye corner, and that's gone in 3 days. It's nothing more there, and it's been like that for years now. Brilliant. So I think I will have 20/20 vision soon again.
Yeah.
Feels that way. I was driving, and it's I don't need glasses then, except at night.
Were you the one? Were you the one with the Scorpio ascending?
I don't remember that.
Okay, maybe it was the second chart. That would help restore the eyesight.
Yeah. Okay.
Eagle vision. Oh well. Anybody else got thoughts on this?
I think Ninja went to turn off the heating or something.
Okay.
I'm back.
A few of me. Okay.
Well done.
Hi.
Thank you, guys.
Hi.
See?
Hello.
Thank you.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, carry on. Don't worry about me.
Okay.
We were just trying to translate. Like, I heard planets flying, and somebody else might have heard a deeper message behind it all. And Stolly's telling us what he's heard, what it actually means. A few details, anyway. Yeah.
There you go. And you got your birthday coming up, and as it turns out, July 25th is my parents' anniversary, wedding anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
They don't celebrate it anymore. Well, they do, actually. They can now because they're both together again.
That's cool. Mm.
Yeah, it's neat.
My brother's 27th, so he's one of those lion cubs too.
Yeah, and my dad was a Leo, July 20th.
Mm.
So, yeah, imagine that, getting married 5 days after your birthday. Oh, what's that, Benny?
A force to reckon with, Leo.
Yeah, I definitely had his. I really wish I'd known his time of birth, and I'd be able to look at the chart and get a whole better handle on it. So. Yeah, back to my.
Hear it? Okay. Mm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm. I know
Okay.
There's a light that should be lighting on this headset when it's muted, and now it's not working anymore, so I can't mute.
Well, you can mute on Skype. You just got to hit the mic.
Now it's working again. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I just mute on Skype. A whole lot easier. But yeah, getting back to the charts, I just want to get that wave back. Where was I going there? Oh, about the greatest strength, greatest weakness. Because we can all get flattered by our charts and all the really groovy, wonderful things in it, and it's by the way we've been in trained, we don't want to know anything bad about our design, or our potential to that. And that's the one thing that can trip us up every single time. It's the only thing that can trip us up. And the ego, the personality loves the flattery and all the rest of it. Doesn't really like the corrective qualities that we need to look at to keep that mirror balanced, right? So that's why I've spent a lot of time looking at the not so wonderful qualities of what my design is, and of course my own nature, and looking for the things that I need to correct with myself. And there's still lots. It's an ongoing process. I mean, we can't get stuck in the delusion of destination. It's a journey, and it's an ongoing journey, and it's infinite. And to be infinitely blissful requires a little bit of work, and that's what we need to do. Get rid of the garbage, get rid of the camel, packaging, and work diligently at that.
I just got a brilliant picture in my mind for what you're saying, like a door with the word vulnerability on it, and the guard standing in front of it. And we've got to get rid of the guard because that's ego.
Well, typically they like donuts and coffee, so hand them the coffee and donuts, and then slip past into the areas you need to really look at. And I mean, we talked about the ego, so we've beaten to death here, and it's going to continue to get beaten to death. And it's the only thing that's going to get in your way, and you'll feel the resistance. It is actually an energy. And you will feel it. Those things that you don't want to really do. I don't really want to look at that. I don't really want to confront that. And you can feel that energy. It's a standing wave. And what you need to do, this is like in the Toon Rescue. These are the walls you got to push on through. And that's how I've walked my path, finding those areas of resistance to keep me on course. Those are the things I use to. Literally go with the flow. You can talk about center stream, going with the flow, everything else. But when you look at how society is just going with the flow, it hasn't really worked that well for us. because we're all too busy looking for the goodies in our lives and all the rest of that, right? So from there, it's an internal search, and it's an internal willingness to confront the things that. Listen, if you want to improve things, well, it's just like a carving. You're going to have to take some of that wood off, or stone, or whatever it is you're carving, to get to that beautiful sculpture. What's that?
What's that saying? Only dead fish go with the flow?
Pretty much, you know. And what we're doing is we're the spawning salmon going upstream.
Yep.
We're the ones responding to the spirit call, right?
Nice. Responding, yeah.
Yeah, that was actually probably in the first 10 words. Yeah, why would you want to respond or re-give life to anything that comes in the mail, right? That's what you're doing. When you respond, you're giving it life. Your light, right? Your light of divine within. It's all contract. The words are all contracts. That's why we have to be so mindful of the contracts we get into, knowingly and unknowingly, because they're all binding.
Their responsibility is very tricky too, then.
Yeah, that's where the response able I love, or the response ability, comes into play. There's that spawns again, right?
There's a whole lot of shit that you were told you're responsible for, but forget it.
Well, the chessboard, take pawns, move the S to the front, and you got spawn.
Yeah.
Right, so it's all there.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, that's one of the reasons why. I mean, Santo's done my chart. He's done it a couple of times. I've been very fortunate in getting into some pretty heavy detail with mine, and I took it at face value for what it was and what it was presenting. Plus, tie in the Chinese zodiac, tie in the Mayan, tie in all of it. Human design America. This is a thing. I was hungry to know myself, so I went seeking those different things, looking at I know that's my good qualities, and I know that's something I have to fix, that I want to make a good quality, and don't look at it. It's not a bad quality. It's something that you need to improve on. That's it.
Sure. Well, the horoscope's a big mirror for me. That's the shit that nobody can tell me.
Mm-hmm.
However well they try, or however well I try not to see it, because that's probably the clue. My blinkers are there, and some people have the same blinkers, so you don't get everything mirrored. And astrology bypasses that for me. It's starting to anyway.
No, I hear you. I totally hear you.
No,
sorry, I'm just a little distracted right now, so I would say forgive me, but I don't want that. I've just got a lot of stuff flying through my head right now. Yeah. But it's really taking that cold, hard look at ourselves. We spend so much time looking outside of ourselves and seeing those other aspects, our reflections, but they're only little. Like, think of all the individuals that you have come into contact in your life, and they are all part of you. They were all little individual things, right? And we can look at those closest to us as being the ones that are the mirrors that you need to reflect from the most. I mean, this is a thing that I tear myself apart inside, wondering, okay, what the hell do I need to figure out here? And it's not for lack of trying, guys. This can be a very frustrating road, but I'll tell you, the little gems you pick up along the way are well worth it. And you'll find some that they come easier, and then others that cost you a fair bit of your reality, as you thought it was, right? So be ready for that.
Some you just have to cut loose.
Well, that's it. I mean, that is totally it.
Sometimes you just have to let it go until they try and figure it out.
Well, yeah, and well, that's the point. Go ahead, Ståle.
No, I was just going to say I'm very aware of it, and I observe it, and I try to, I'm taking it in and trying to correct things or understand them.
Understand them. You just got to be the neutral observer. And we got Mim going to jump in here, so Just saw the hand go up there, and oh, I did hit it. Let me try again. There. Okay, I took on the second. There you are, ma'am.
Good evening, Kate and Ninja. How is everybody tonight?
We're doing great.
I know you are, because I'm having a great time listening. I just wanted to chime in with a little synchronicity here. I'm dealing with a particular friend situation, and I'm thinking about everything that you've been, speaking to, and this car pulls in front of me, and the license plate is 555, and the letters were YMU. And from our phonics, we know that Y can be either Y sound, E sound, or I sound. So 555 IMU.
Yeah, and take the other things into it. There's the question: why am you? Why am I you? Right? Or the tree of life, the creation aspect of singular intention to exponential creation, the branch out. So there are many layers there, So it's good eyes.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that extra little question mark in there about the why again. I like that little added thought to be considering.
One of the things that I do is, as soon as I get an affirmative on something, I immediately go looking for the not affirmative to find its mirror. I find that which resonates and agrees with me, then I look to the opposite to see its mirror, to find its neutral point. And that I find, for me anyway, it works a treat. Truth reveals itself like that. It's crazy fast. Look at all the variables, because that's the thing about the charts we were just talking about. It's very easy to look at all the wonderful traits that we have in our signs and the beautiful aspects and, planetary positions and everything else. But we do have issues, I'm speaking for me, looking at those things that may not be so agreeable. And those are the ones that, as much as they're, okay, well, I got to fix this, so I'm going to go look at it. And I look at it. And then I work through it and I go, yep, need to fix that. And that's the mirror, the true scathing mirror within. And like I've said many times, I'm very fortunate in the predicament of this particular game I'm playing, in that I was very scathing from the get-go. What the hell is wrong with me? So I was constantly looking at that. And no, that's okay, that's fine. And then I look at that literally took a scalpel to myself, and well, more allegorically. Don't get me anywhere near number 11 scalpel. I'll take care of my own business here, but you know what I'm saying. So here's my allegory. I am the physical manifestation of the War of the Roses, and that's been my war all along. That war of the divine masculine, divine feminine, right, in complete stark contrast of each other in its most absolute form in how I've had to walk this life.
You know what ro is in Norwegian?
As in
what?
Like
in peace and quiet, if then you are in ro. In Norwegian.
Oh, okay.
So R-O, only those letters, is peace and quiet. So they quieted that part down. Yeah.
Well, and there in Greek, R-O is, R-H-O, right? Ro, spirit. So of course you're going to be in peace because you're in spirit. You're in your center point. So that totally makes sense. And as someone had said asked me the other day, does what this little quote trick in English, does it work in other languages? And I have to say no and yes, because other languages factor in. It's like French with Jesus. You have the je suis. To make yourself Jesus, all you have to do is put the I in there, the self. Je suis, I am, and there you are, immediately in heaven, right? So it all works. Even using Spanish and German and limited amounts, and it seems that I, for some reason, coincidentally, I just had enough knowledge regarding numerous languages that all factored into this. It's that's why I know creation is perfect, and that's why I know everything that we do and everything we see is there are no coincidences. Everything done in your life mattered, and I do mean everything. And
I agree.
I hope. Yeah, I was waiting for someone to jump in. I want to hear the comments on that.
Well, I just, I listen to you and I think about your life is just like such a cutting edge. I don't know, not just your personality, but because of your personality and because of what formed your personality and what you've been through and what you've been willing to allow, what you've been, I've seen, I don't know you, but I've seen such an incredible transformation just in the short period of time that I've been listening, after I heard about you through Carol. And I don't get to be on every day, but I do like to come in and hear you as often as I can, and I'd like to go back and try to catch things especially if I've heard a part of the call and I know how good it was. And I think today with Santos was such a phenomenal day with him using the scripture and Leonardo da Vinci's painting and just weaving all of those things. And I know that you were, that being led as, once before when you had, I forget the other person's name that you had on where you talked about the dance and he was leading, which was just another really super wonderful evening.
That was,
and,
Tobias Lars.
Yes, Tobias, I loved that show that night, and just such an incredible flow. And of course, there was no need to, be even interacting that much with Santos because he was on a roll, and I knew, the downloads were just coming so fast because he was tripping up, and everything was happening so fast. It was almost like he was tripping over what he wanted to get out, but still everything, came out in such a beautiful manner of just opening things up. And I loved what you said the other day about, people just, you were talking about the letter C and being open. And when you were talking, I remembered that, from my Hebraic understanding, they talked about that the sea, like the Sea of Galilee, whenever you see the word sea, S-E-A, that it was talking about groups of people or groupings of people. And
one other comment on SEA. Now there's A, which of course is 6 in the mirror, and which becomes light. Yin, dark becomes light, right? Because you look at the yin yang, you have light in the dark and dark in the light, right? There's both qualities on each side of it. And you have, so SE, which is say, and there's your dark and light together, the E and the A, right? Divine Feminine Kundalini S. So you have already got a balance of the light and the dark in the mirror. And say, SE, is himself, herself, itself, which of course 9 is light in the mirror, which becomes the creational void of dark, right? So look at that. You wonder why these words are formed the way they are. And that's all I'm trying to outline and show people how absolutely critical each word is and how it's formed. These are perfect. Everything is perfect. You got to be able to.
Well, I'm like you. I'm a wordsmith of sorts, but I haven't been in it for quite some time. I've had a period in my life where I just haven't been in it. But I love etymology and where words come from and their meanings and I love what's happening because it's very liquid, it's very fluid, and it's very dynamic. Being, just listening or being a part of the conversation, and there's just a wonderful give and take, and I love the way that you open it up and ask and continue to prod and encourage people. Come on, you guys, open up and share your heart and be a part of this.
Well, that's how we do it. We do it together.
I love hearing Ninja. I love hearing Colleen. I love hearing
everybody.
Bindi. I love hearing you. I love hearing Jeremiah. I love Steve. I love hearing everybody that comes in to share stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and a little side note here. Of course, I did my daily card split today, and I had this same split was actually the first split I did. I've mentioned it already. And you can go back and verify on the radio shows. But guess what the cards were today? The Badger, right? And of course, none other than Wayland showed up again today. So that's yeah. Well, 4 days in a row for me. Then it jumped out for Ninja when I was doing. It didn't completely come out, so. But it's like, here I am yesterday, and of course.
Well, I used to live on a Badger Street, so it's in my life.
There you go.
So the thing that I told you yesterday, I think that the thing that keeps coming up is the X's and Y's in the license plates, and there you have the masculine and feminine DNA.
Yeah, the XY chromosomes.
Now, which one is female and which one is male? Because I don't remember. Is XXY female? How does that go?
I believe the Y is the feminine. It's the
feminine, right?
Well, the X is the Y is the X with the penis removed. Symbology.
J. I have XJH, but I call that the X Johansson, which was my last name. So.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
So the male DNA is what? XX, and female is XXY. Is that the way it is?
I think so. I'd have to look that up, or we can have someone look that up.
Yeah, maybe if somebody knows, they could open up and tell us, because that XX or XXY.
The other way around, XX is female, XY is male. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything starts as XX.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm muting now.
Oh, okay. Just like that.
Well, I'm here, but I'm where traffic keeps coming in and out with loud trucks and stuff. So I'm listening. I'm nearby.
No worries, love. The line, like I said, I leave the lines open, and that allows everyone to jump in when they can. Yeah, and the thing is, you were right about Santo with downloads. Is one of the reasons why. I just shut up. And I'll throw in when something is really resonant, something that I want to illustrate, not only to you guys but to Santo, and the things that he is expressing, to give it a different texture or another layer to it. That's the only time I'll jump in, and I haven't had a chance to sit with him one-on-one since he's got back from. I talked to him for an hour the one night, but it wasn't. Well, that was pretty much after he got back. So, and you know what it's been like for the last couple of weeks as far as what we've been discussing on the episodes. So it's there's been a lot of information.
Yeah, it's been huge.
Yeah, and it's like as simple as it is. Right now, especially for you guys, the ones you guys have been tuned in and following along in real time. Now, to try to go back and explain that from a month ago perspective to people that haven't been a part of it, it's not easy. But you see how simple it is. This is the joy of it. When you see how simple it is, there's my frustration. Trying to take these incredibly simple concepts, and they're the more we peel the truth layers off, the simpler it gets. But the more difficult, there's the mirror, the more difficult it is to explain, and that's one of the reasons why when I'm trying to convey a concept, I literally have to walk people down the yellow brick road that I walked for them to see it. You got to get this concept first. Once you have that, then I can take you to the next one. Once you got that, I can take, and then it'll all click, right? Excuse me. So if you hear repeating myself, that's why I do it, because there's a very specific trail to get to a very specific concept. But those trails are getting a lot simpler now. That's the joy of this, and especially like of late. With everyone chiming in and the posts that I'm getting and emails and stuff and all the rest of it is just telling me that everyone's resonating. Everyone's getting, we're all on the same page. And, I'm people are sharing their allegories and their coincidences and their synchronicities and a lot of ooh and ahs going around lately, and it's magnificent to watch. I can't express it enough.
It's like fireworks going off.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. And we've been having lots of fireworks going off around here too, which is kind of coincidental that you said that. Yeah, they're still letting them go here. Crazy people.
Well, there were two things from Santos that really caught my attention, and that was the first comment that he made was when he said that all the timelines are converging. And the second one was when he talked about, the create, void, record, repetition. So I'm wondering, I didn't get a chance to ask him, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are of, as we're coming into this. When I first talked to you, I was saying when I listen to you, it's like so many things are so synchronistic. It feels like a lot of different people in my life rolled into one, like being here in this experience with me as I'm like listening to you and would want to be sharing things with them and whatever. And it's that layered multiple dimension, multiple universe, many timelines all at once kind of a feeling and knowing that this really is, this now moment right now is the one that we are living. This is the only, I shouldn't say maybe only, but it's the one we're aware of right now.
Yeah, and, it's the one in our conscious reality. Yeah, keep going.
I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, about converging timelines. That's the preset moment. This is exactly what I'm trying to outline. Because the minute we eliminate the concept of future prophecy, whatever you want to call it, calendars, things that make us think into a time that doesn't exist outside of our now, and equally, the history books. That's why they have history, right? To keep people focused on what would appear to be the past. And it goes back to I will suggest people to watch the Bill Donahue video on teleportation, because it's the exact same concept, and I'm in terms of light or something being teleported somewhere. You have to destroy it. You have to destroy the original for the copy to exist. And we go back to what Santo's saying with Walter Russell, same concept, where creation copies itself infinitely over and over and destroys itself and records all at the same instant, right? Goes back to the. Oh, go ahead. That was one other concept from Cliff High as well that really, and this is going back a couple of years, that caught my attention. And his concept here. Just say Cliff High, and I'll get back on the wave. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is what it did for me when I realized, not by anybody teaching me, I was just having these experiences and thinking about these things, and it set me free from this fear that there's not going to be enough time to accomplish, what I want or need to do, and that's specifically, it's just me. It's that.
Oh, you broke up there, hon, again?
The fear for me, of to complete my, I don't know, whether you want to call it a soul contract or just if you want to break the contracts that you had with whatever you were doing before and you're feeling guilty that you failed again, it gave me a sense of renewal that there is time and that, it's okay. We can be restored to that feeling that, you can start from a place of innocence, of a new start. Whatever it is, no matter where you're at, you can forgive yourself. You can forgive, you, like I said before, it's about going, into the past and forgiving yourself or whatever the situation may be for how you handled it or whatever, and knowing that in doing that you are changing the future and the timeline that you would have been on is now different. And I've literally, with another person, been teleported. I didn't ask for it, wasn't expecting it. All I can tell you is that there was just this wonderful peaceful unity, like what we're experiencing on this call. And in one moment, we were headed one direction on a road, and the next minute, we were on the other side of the road, a mile the other direction. And I had just said, we need to be not here but there, and we looked over and we were there.
Yeah. There's a video just on. It's pretty neat, actually, where you can physically see. There was a truck coming through an intersection, and there was someone, I think, pushing a stroller or a baby carriage across the street, and the instant I got to tell you this, and I think I saved the video itself, but anyway, it's. You see this truck coming in, and it sees the people, and next thing you see is a flash of light in front of the truck, and because they were right in the middle of the intersection, and they reappear 40 or 50 feet away at the side of the road, and this guy in the truck thought he actually got out, thought because he was sure he hit them. And went out looking under the truck, and you can see the brake marks and everything else. But there's a flash of light, and then another flash of light at the same instant, where it was like they were physically teleported. It's quite astonishing. And these are the little clues that we get to show us our true nature. We're playing a game, and we've gotten so quagmired in the child of a lesser god, like without those abilities, state of being. Now, this is an indication for me of the contrast of how absolutely powerful we are by, really, what does a creator God have to fear? Fear is a manifested creation in order to give us the illusion of not being God. And so there it is, God, not God. Up, not up, right? So, and you mentioned about this whole forgiving self thing. Well, see, it's very easy to do when we look at the things in our lives that weren't the greatest choices we'd ever made. And I'm being gentle here, right? We've done some pretty shitty, nasty things. There's the ungentle side of it, okay? We've done a lot of things that have hurt a lot of people. Whether we'll agree to it or not, if you look at your own life, I look at mine. When I look at those things, I go, okay, yeah, I can accept responsibility for being in a state where I was then, but not now. I can look at that and say, no, that's not something I would ever do again. End of story. And then look at all, balance it out. This is not about beating ourselves up. We have to keep this balanced. Look at the good things that we've done with the right intentions, and keep in mind the free will choice thing, right? This is a razor. You walk this one. And these are the things that were agreeable to all, weren't harming anyone. These are the things that I would do. So the forgiving oneself is coming to terms with the things that we've done, accept the responsibility for it, and say, no, okay, I'm good. This is now. There is no past, okay, and there is no future.
Wait, my phone's going. I'm going to have to drop off here. It's just not charging. I apologize.
No worries, hon. Thank you so much for popping in. We got about 14 minutes left anyway. So, okay. So, but thanks, ma'am. Always great to hear you.
Bye-bye.
Great. All right. Love you, kiddo. We'll talk to you maybe tomorrow. There you go, with a fully charged phone. So don't be so hard on yourself, and don't be so easy on yourself either. Balance it out. A spoonful of sugar.
Move outside the box every now and then and look at it as the hologram with everybody included. You're not actually really doing anything wrong, per se, but on the social, emotional level, it's okay to admit that it did hurt and it wasn't intentional, and you can say sorry. It's both. You didn't really hurt, and nobody was actually really hurt because it's all holographic. It's a projection.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you did experience it that way.
Well, that's exactly what it is. What we're in is an experiential.
Yeah.
Right? Where there is no good or evil. There is merely the illusion of it. Life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat. You know.
Gently in your peace.
Exactly. And, yeah, but isn't it amazing how everything just kind of fits into everything? Ad infinitum.
Yep.
Look how many layers. Oh, go ahead.
You want to know what animal card I pulled while I was listening to Santos?
Which one did you pull?
The Swan Maiden.
Haha.
Do you want me to read what's on the card?
Yeah. I kind of figured you were going to, so yeah, please.
Okay. Although the story varies from place to place, the basic plot is the same young man finds the feathered robe or skin of a swan maiden, the goddess-like creature, which has temporarily shed to assume a human form. Although the youth attempts to hide the feathers from the maiden, which allows him to possess her, the swan finds its feathers, assumes its animal form, and leaves the youth. The lost swan thus symbolizes the departure of youthful innocence and the passage to maturity. In some versions of the story, the swan dies. In Greek mythology, the swan song is the beautiful song sung by the swan just before her death. Now, if that isn't transmutation, I don't know what it is.
Agreed. You know, and there it is, the wheel of fortune, the zodiacal wheel, where we get to look at everything around it at the same time and become a part of it. There's something else I wanted to get out here, and it just came in and left. Oh yeah, that's it. The cardinal, fixed, and mutable. There's your Bill Donohue's. There's the ABC teleportation. There's the whole idea of the moment of now being created, destroyed, and copied in the same instant. That's why time doesn't exist. It can't exist in that paradigm. So time is an illusion. That's why we have this whole Saturnian allegory, Chronos, giving us the illusion of time. And the only thing that's going to keep us in this illusion is believing that there is a past and a future. When there is neither, there is only now. And the only time you can get there is getting silent, getting deep, right? Go silent running like a submarine, right? There's that mar again, mare, submarine, maritime. See, there it is. There's the mare, horse, time, right? So,
I like the submarine allegory with the one pulse, the poof, every time now and then. Just a poof. Blink.
Yeah, sonar. Look at that. The son of Ra in the mirror.
Sunstar, sonar. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and there, and you go backwards on it. You got Uranus.
Yeah.
That's it. There are no. You see, the biggest trick they played on us was making us believe there were rules within their language, and they established them so very, very carefully. And the only way to break free of that illusion or that spell is to go, no, you put a word together, it's got 5 letters, I can put those 5 letters in numerous combinations, and the letters all mean something, and I'll mess with it. All the letters have different aspects of sound and whatever, and I'll check all those out. I don't need to pronounce a word the way I was trained to. I will speak common speak for the understanding. And there's the trap of the language, and also the cure by having that understanding to unravel. The trap actually unravels itself. I don't know if I got that concept across, but
perfectly.
Okay, so that's why there is no good or evil. There is both at the same time. The only thing that shifts it is intent and perspective. Do you intend to stay trapped, or do you intend to use the trap to set yourself free? Mm-hmm. I was going to say a lobster trap, right? The lobster can leave any time. It can climb back out.
Just has to walk backwards and all, but it can't. He doesn't know he can.
Right. So,
there
it is.
reminds me of my Dutch language teacher here in the Netherlands, and anal with spelling. I always call them spelling Nazis. And I just tell them, I lord over my own letters, thank you very much. So I refuse to be mindful of spelling, grammar, and all that all the time when I'm looking at the allegory.
Oh, absolutely. And we have Colleen joining us, and we got about 8 minutes here, guys. So you guys can take it from here. Colleen.
Hello.
Hey. Good to hear you.
I've been listening. I've joined in, but I was in a really deep, and you just said go silent and deep, and I've just been really silent and deep in meditation most of the day. And so when you said that, I said, I guess I'm supposed to say something. But what's come to me a lot today was the deep, dark wisdom of the womb, and a lot of downloads on that, but just not quite ready to share. But I did want to say, you mentioned the mare, the horse again, just a minute ago and earlier, and you also had mentioned the War of the Roses earlier. I don't quite know what that's reference to, but every time you say that, I think of Dan Fogelberg, Run for the Roses.
Run for the Roses. And it's Run for the Roses as fast as you can. Yeah, great tune.
Yes. Can I read this? Because it's really, I'll just read the chorus. And it's Run for the Roses as fast as you can. Your fate is delivered, your moment's at hand. It's the chance of a lifetime in a lifetime of chance. And it's high time you joined in the dance. It's high time you joined in the dance. From sire to sire, it's born in the blood, the fire of a mare and the strength of a stud. It's breeding and it's training, and it's something unknown that drives you and carries you home.
Yep. Danny Fogelberg. Gee, I wonder why he was one of my inspirations, huh? Yeah, it's a great tune.
I can pretty much wake Birdie.
Yeah, it's and here's the thing. I was just going to mention. You can jump in, Stella. Just going to mention. Look what we missed when we heard the songs for the first time, and look what we're seeing now. Yeah, Stola, go ahead.
No, I just pulled a card for tonight, just in general. It was the King of Pentacles from the Rider White.
Yep.
And I don't use any book, so I just see the king. There's 4 bulls there, and he uses the lion as a. He's having his armored foot on it. Maybe it's his pet, or I don't know. So I don't know what you think about that card. It looks very fruitful, or.
And what was it again?
King of Pentacles.
Okay, that's
King
in
of
my
Shields.
book. Yeah, it's the King
of Shields.
Yeah, which is Uther, Uther Pendragon, no less, the father of Arthur, an authority figure who possesses great leadership abilities, a decisive, courageous man, a loyal, supportive husband, a distinguished man of strong character, an admired businessman, security, protection, sound investments, profitable business maneuvers, expansion and progress, in short, divine masculine. Right?
Yeah, Uta or Atur is bear as well, the Great Big Dipper.
Yeah, there it is. And what is the Big Dipper pointing at? Polaris, the polarity. And we can talk about that. The wobble. What is it called again? The precessional wobble. And it's during certain phases of this hologram. Right now, it's wobbling around Polaris, and they all take turns around Polaris, the different stars. The grouping, I've seen it a long time ago, but yeah, and when we're aimed at Polaris, we are polarized. polar opposites. Right? Now, of course, what I was saying to Santo about, being on the equator and being lighter makes total sense to me. Because you're at the fastest spinning point of the neutral area of Gaia. So obviously you would weigh less, think centrifugal force. Now when you go to the North Pole or the South Pole, if you're too polarized to either end, of course you're going to be heavier, and because you're feeling the full effects of gravity, and you're not getting that inertial spin. So the further north or the further outside of the equator, out of balance that you go, the heavier you get. That's the lead. So we turn our lead into gold by walking to the equator. And that is an allegorical equator. The equator you have is a 0 point within you to find that balance of the creative and the intent, perspective and intent, bringing them into balance so that it's not trespassing on anything or anyone. Another note, I'll bring it up tomorrow night regarding contracts and oaths and why you should never swear them. I've been saying that for a very long time. So I'll make that more of the subject matter for tomorrow night, because I think it's a very important thing, very deep concept that people need to get into, and how many contracts we've actually gotten into unwittingly. So tomorrow night I'll focus on the purging of the contracts, either in ignorance or knowledge, to 0 point your slate on that one as well. And we got about 30 seconds here, so I'll just quickly wrap up and say thanks, everybody.
Video provided by VerdictProductions.com.